to everyone and our guests. Calling this meeting to order. Thank you for that. Second on our agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda as presented. We need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion we approve the meeting agenda as presented.
So we need a second.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 3 on the agenda gets into presentations. We also have an opportunity as board members to make some comments concerning they know what's going on in the district, or if they have people they want to acknowledge, or that kind of thing. So Wade, can I start with you?
Absolutely. I don't have a whole lot of comments, but I would like to just say for the record that at the last board meeting, and since then I have just heard so many positive things about all of our schools, and after all of the principals presented last week, I had time to just go back and reflect on that after I got home, and I mean, it just makes you feel good when the administrators can come and make reports such as they did, and I just wanted to give them some more kudos because I think they deserve that. They're working really, really hard for our kiddos, and so I just wanted to make sure that they know that they appreciate it, because sometimes, I sit in that same seat sometimes, and it can be a lonely seat. And you don't always get the accolades, and not that you do it for that, but when you do the work, it's the right thing to do is to give them the attaboy and the attagirl, or the good old pat on the back. And so I don't see them, but Dr. McDonald, my behalf, when you do see them, please give them that pat on the back and that good old attaboy, attagirl, and ask them to just keep forging forward, for our kids.
We will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ball?
No comments.
Okay.
No, I just want to reflect on top of that, just that, it was amazing to get to listen to all of the teachers, all of the principals on each school. And I just, I want to add to that, just saying, it's astounding everything that we've gone through in the last 2 years. And to still, have our kids not that far behind, behind it all. And it's been amazing. And I just want to, add to that.
Excellent, thank you. I just want to add that we start school on the 24th. It's right around the corner. It's almost like trying to deal with last year all over again. Where are we on COVID, and trying to deal with what the governor wants us to do and KDE wants us to do, and we have to do and agree that whatever's best for our kids. And sometimes those decisions are really hard to make. And it's safety for our kids and our staff. So as far as I know, we're opening up. Everybody's going to be in the buildings, and everybody's excited, and I think that's going to be a blessing that we get our kids and our staff and everybody with in-person learning. So anyways.
Also, I just forgot, I just wanted to give, given the accolades, I couldn't forget the Kentucky Department of Education's DAC spotlight. And I might be stealing your thunder. I'm sorry.
It's top on my list.
Is it? Okay, I'll let you do it, Dr. McDonald, when you get there. So, but I saw that, and I just want to make sure that we do that as well. But I'll let you do that.
All good things. Okay. Next on the agenda is the Lydia Ellis Award. Oh. I forgot about
I got a long list.
Okay. Well, Dr. McDonald, I apologize for skipping you. So if you would please go ahead.
Thank you. And I have a little bit of a list, so bear with me. And top on my list is this week the Kentucky Department of Education DAC Spotlight. And DAC is District Assessment Coordinator. And this week the spotlight is our own Sherry Satterley. So there was an email with that spotlight that went out to all school districts across the state. She does an amazing job on a lot of things. We're really proud of her. We've got a lot of events going on to get the school year started. There's no way I can list all of them, but I just jotted down a few that I wanted to mention. Last week we had a lot of events going on at the high school. We had freshman orientation, we had an open house. The week before we had a block party at the high school, so a lot of great events going on at the high school. So, and some more upcoming. Tomorrow, Hawks is having their back to school bash. Thursday, Tolliver's having orientation, and on Thursday we also have Bait having the Bulldog Bash. So a lot of open houses, orientation, and events going on, so check those out at our schools. Just really getting excited. Our teachers are excited, our staff, our students, everybody's excited that we're getting to go back to school. I also want to point out that at the last board meeting on Monday, y'all heard about the Admiral Ambassador Program, which is our new teacher orientation, and that kicked off this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it was an amazing 3 days. That group of teachers saw a ton of faces. I think every administrator, building level, and district level did some type of presentation with that group and work. They got a ton of information, and they ended those 3 days with a bus tour that was facilitated by J.H. Atkins, one of our community members. They toured the history of the school system, and they toured each building and went through the neighborhoods where our students live. So it was really a strong 3 days. So, and Mrs. Satterley heads up that program. I know she had a lot of help from a lot of folks, and I'm sure she's going to want to be like, make sure everybody's mentioned, but she did, head that up. So that was a great program. So really, really excited about that. And then real quickly, I want to go through athletics. We're in full swing for fall. We've got a lot going on. Volleyball actually has their season opener tonight next door now. I think it was 6 o'clock. Boys soccer started their season last week, and they're doing really well for the start of the season. Girls soccer, they picked up a win last week, so that's great. Football plays our first game this Friday night. We're playing Garrett County, but it is in Lincoln because it's the Death Valley Bowl. If any of you have watched, we've had 2 scrimmages. We won both of them. If you say you can win a scrimmage, we won. We got more touchdowns than they did, even though it was a scrimmage. It was really great. We had a home scrimmage this Friday night. I saw Mr. Stanfield there. So anyway, it was a really great game. It got close towards the end, but our boys pulled it out and won. We are also excited to let everyone know that we have a new title sponsor for our bowl game. It's Whitaker Bank. So excited there. We got a pretty large donation for that. We appreciate that. Cross country will host the E.G. Plummer race September 4th, and Coach Peach will be speaking to the Rotary Club this Friday. So we got a lot of things going on. Just excited to have school back in full swing.
We have a lot going on.
Yes.
Fantastic. And we probably missed some events in there.
Oh,
Hopefully not.
tons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I failed to mention tons, and we got so much going on right now.
So, which is good. It's all positive. All right, let's go to item, now I can go to Lydia Ellis Award presentation. So, Ludetta, may I turn it over to you? Oh, well, good. Jennifer's here too. Okay, good.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present this award during the Danville Schools Board of Education tonight. I'm Lydia Robertson, and I'm the treasurer of the Danville Schools Education Foundation and Athletic and Alumni Association. Given annually since 2013, the Lydia Ellis Innovative Arts Educator Award was developed by the Danville Schools Education Foundation to recognize outstanding teaching and learning in the visual and performing arts. Named in honor of retired library media specialist.
We need to get the person up here.
Well,
Jane is signaling us.
Lydia's going to speak.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember from the order. So once you finish your introduction up there, maybe she can say a couple of words.
named in honor of retired library media specialist and music educator and the first recipient, Lydia Ellis, this award shines a light on how arts education benefits students in the Danville schools and the teachers who guide those students. And we're honored to have Lydia with us tonight.
Lydia, why don't you come on up?
Okay, I'll shift this way so you're on the video.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
Can you give them the mic so they can be heard? Can they be heard?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Teaching and learning will never quite be the same in our present and post-COVID-19 world. However, Danville Independent's commitment to provide rich and varied educational experiences remains unwavering. The arts have played an important role in these tumultuous times and will continue to do so for all students, including the traditionally underrepresented, those with special needs, and from low-income families. The healing and unifying power of the arts has been evident as the COVID-19 pandemic sweeps the country. We have seen and heard it play out through works of art on sidewalks, shared musical moments from porches, in plays and dance performances, and every other imaginable iteration of art making. As states and schools work through multiple challenges in the years ahead, arts education must remain central to a well-rounded education and fully funded to support the well-being of all students in the entire school community. And let me say, it is such an honor for me to have this award named in my honor, and I couldn't be happier to be here. I am 10 years post-stroke this year in October, and I'm celebrating life by giving a full recital on the day that I had my second stroke. So I really appreciate the arts, and I can tell you from my own experience that music played a big part in my recovery and continues to do so. And I'm so proud of this district and how much you value the arts. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, we thank you for your support.
I'm Norma Hopkins, and I'm the librarian/tech person at Hogsett. And I was just the facilitator to help two young ladies nominate our recipient. Brooklyn, a first grader, said, "This person is a wonderful music teacher." She said, "I like to sing. My favorite special is music." That means she likes to go to the special. "I like the musical instruments outside by the playground house. The musical sounds are like jingle bells." And she even put "Love Brooklyn" because she wanted Miss Gilbert to sing her letter. Another first grader said, "Maya, Miss Gilbert plays piano when we go to music class. We sing the Hello Song every day. In music, my favorite thing is the shake eggs. I felt like I was laying eggs. We played the drums in music class. I love music and Miss Gilbert." And it's really funny if you've ever had the occasion to see a first grader's writing and their spelling. I mean, I had to decipher it for the, yeah. But like I said, I was just a facilitator. Brooklyn and Maya were nominating Miss Gilbert, so.
That is fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay. The 2021 recipient of the Lydia Ellis Innovative Arts Educator Award is Heather Gopher.
Do everyone together. Organize the photo. You want to get them with the.
I don't think I should be in the photo. I just came off of a drive and I
Norma, what's wrong?
Sure you should be.
Let's set her up by the dance.
All right. Jennifer, yeah. There we go. And Dr. McDonald and Steve, would you like to come in so we get going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine with my
I'll just move it.
Sorry, Glenn.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Jane.
Of course, right.
Can we scooch together?
Oh, no, no,
No,
no.
you're fine. Are we good?
Right. Alright, 3,
Move it up.
2,
Yeah. Do that.
Everybody smile.
Say cheese.
Smile with your eyes.
perfect.
All right, thank you.
No way you can do it.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Where we going?
Thank you.
You got it together.
There was at least too much and not.
Oh, yeah. It's an 82 graduate. Do you want to talk about him? Or do you want me
You can talk to him and then I'll present the check.
to? Okay.
We got to turn around to the camera.
Let me.
Yeah, especially again. We'll head to the next one. Introduce him.
So, also, we have another opportunity. The science program at Tolliver, for a couple of years now, has been recognized by an alum, Alan Arnold, who graduated in '82. I will say he is my brother-in-law. I will admit that. He usually doesn't admit it for me. But
Smart.
he is a very generous person, along with his wife Susan, that truly, even though they live in Atlanta, they truly support the Danville schools no matter what. And he committed $10,000 over 10 years to be given to the science program, and just thrilled that he wants to do that and to continue to do that. So I just, like I said, I'm sorry that it was a little later than normal, but with the COVID and all this stuff, things were just crazy this year. So, but anyways, we have the check from him, or from
Yes, we do.
he does it through the foundation, and then the foundation then turns over the check to Tolliver. So I would like for Dr. McDonald to accept the check.
Thank you. And I'm sure Tolliver is extremely grateful. We have a great science lab there. I hope folks get to come out and see it if you've not seen it. And this will go to good use, and the students will love it. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, not me. And thanks to the foundation, alumni board, you guys did a great
Absolutely.
job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let's go down to item E, is personnel notification. Have you all had a chance to look at that? Board members?
Yes.
If you have any questions or concerns, not concerns, but any questions, just get with Dr. McDonald, and she'll be happy to jump in there. So, okay, so let's go to item 4, which would be approval of the previous minutes, meeting minutes as submitted. Can we have a motion, please?
I'd like to offer a motion that the minutes of the previous meetings be approved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion accepted, second for the approval of the 7/12 and 7/19 meeting minutes as submitted. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we do have item 5, which is reserved for the public. We didn't have anyone sign up, so let's move on to item 6, which is district assurances. And so, Dr. McDonald?
So each year you can, it's a fairly lengthy document, but each year the district has to assure KDE that we are following all laws, regulations, and guidelines. And so each of the boxes that you see is stating, it's just giving the information of some law, policy, or regulation that's either federal or state oriented, and we are clicking off and assuring that we are following that law, regulation, or policy. And so I've went through each of these. some of these may be programs at the schools or under different areas, and I have checked with everyone in the district and assure you that we are following all these policies, laws, and regulations. Once you approve this, I will upload it to KDE. So, and this is a yearly occurrence.
Okay, if you all had a chance to take a look at the document,
How long do you think you go through that?
A while.
and it's,
I'm thinking,
wow.
32 pages.
it's a while, but it is something we have to do.
It's something we do on an annual basis, don't we?
Yes,
Yes.
and we
Right.
need to
Every
approve
year.
it every year,
Yeah,
so.
right,
I'd
right.
like to have a motion, please.
I make a motion that we'll approve and affirm the district assurances as they are presented by the superintendent.
Okay, we need a second.
I second that.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of the district assurances. Paperwork that's being submitted, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, number 7, if you all remember the conversation or how the importance is that the board really wants more communication going on. And so we have lots of platforms available through the district, and I think we'd like all of them to hit the same cylinders. Not that we don't want schools to report their good news, but we also want what's on our webpage for the district to also be on the webpage for whoever at the schools. So years ago, maybe not that long ago, we used to have folks at each school that would be kind of like, I don't know, media coordinators. A lot of times it was the tech people that were involved in that. And I think that with the added capabilities that we have, that we also need to pay someone in each of the schools to accept those responsibilities and work with Tiffany and make sure that we're having the same communications going on. So, go ahead, Dr. McDonald.
I worked a little bit with Tiffany with some of the things that she does in her role at the district level, looked at some media coordinators in other districts, and talked with Mr. Gover. And so we had $1,000 stipend prior, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and so I was asking for this one to be $1,500, and really trying to make things a little more consistent so that we would have the website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. Most of our, I think, schools have them. I believe we might have one school that doesn't have an Instagram account. And then this is kind of what would be expected daily, weekly, monthly, and then if you could scroll down, I'm not sure if y'all had a chance to review it over the weekend or scroll up, quarterly what we would look at, and then of course during holidays and summer break it wouldn't be as intense as it would be the daily and the weekly up above. And so these would be the responsibilities for that stipend. Glad to take other ideas or thoughts of what that might look like, or if it's different, or if you have other thoughts on the amount. Glad to take any feedback, make changes. This would be an addition to our current salary scale under stipends. So this would be something that would be added to the salary scale if you approved it.
So this will go on basically be an extracurricular. So it's a year-to-year basis.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
it would just be like if you had like a coach style.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so that same concept. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Gover, you're gonna be working with this, right?
Tiffany and I'll be working with the people some. We'll train them and get them everything they need.
Okay. The only thing that concerns me is just make sure we have the software updates as they come out so we can stay ahead of the game and not get behind the power curve.
Yeah.
I assume that's gonna be a part of the process.
Yeah, we'll kind of keep track of that, and anything that comes out new, like a new feature or something,
Right.
we'll get with the people and make sure they know
Okay.
what they're doing and everything.
Okay.
And with that being said, these individuals, will they have the authority to just post? Or is there some method of validation, or you know what I'm saying, is there a pipeline just to make sure that, because once we put it out there, you can't take it back.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure if these people are having access to basically speak for the district, then I want to make sure that it is going through some kind of change, just to make sure that, you know, it is exactly what we're putting out there. So
And I think
how's that going to work?
Yeah.
Some kind of filtering
Yeah, and I
process.
think that would be at the principal level. Like,
Okay, and I can agree with that.
Yeah, they
Okay,
would
I
do-
mean,
they
but
would
just
do-
so that there is some checks and balances
Yes.
Yes.
with that.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I'm not sure if it shows it on there or not. I'm not sure which document, but the principals will still be on all the social media, so they'll be able to kind of monitor things if anything were to happen or anything. And
Right.
Tiffany and I will be on it as well, so
Okay.
we'll kind
Right.
of have those checks and balances built in as we go.
Yeah,
In
that's-
the second paragraph, it states that the principal and Brian Gerber will have access as an administrator to each account.
That's,
So
and,
then-
Right, right. I see.
and I like that, but I just don't want them to put something out there and we have to pull it back because it wasn't what it should be.
Mostly they would be posting just pictures of students and things that are happening in the school. They wouldn't really ever post like a document featuring like a lot of
Okay.
information.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
That would come from district level.
Okay.
Yeah, they would share it, you know, on the
Yes.
media sites, but they wouldn't be necessarily creating it themselves.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
that's all I'm.
Unless the
Yeah,
principal
that's-
wanted to
I'm
put
sure
something
that's
out.
where, that's
Yeah,
where
that's where I was
Yeah.
going. Yes, thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna make a comment about, it says that the person will be in charge of, you know, responding to comments and direct messages. That's where I can kind of get a little worried. Do we have, sorry, you can.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
No, do
Complete
we,
your thought.
no, do we have, some kind of check and balance to ensure that those comments and direct messages are, either very minimal or, you know, or like revert back to maybe our website for more information? Like, how are we gonna handle these comments and direct messages?
And we definitely would work with us where Tiffany and Brian mentioned training, so we definitely would work with training. The majority of any comments in a direct messaging or something like that usually is like, are we out of school next Monday for the Monday holiday? Or what time is the ball game on Friday
My
night?
kid was late being picked up by the bus, things like that. We don't get a lot of,
But there's a possibility, so we
Yeah,
would
right.
train them that if it is,
Beyond their scope,
if
maybe.
it's, beyond their scope, then they would go to their principal and get a response.
And that's one reason we want the principals on it, so they can.
And that's a
jump
part of
in.
the training
Yeah.
process. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically, they would respond to things that are factual as far as date stamps, time stamps, location
Okay.
stamps, those sorts of
And the
things.
principal are picking these individuals?
So with Brian Gover, in conjunction, the two of them will talk through. We want to make sure the person's also tech savvy and already understands Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to some level.
Right.
So,
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Yes,
just so that,
absolutely.
because as the administrator of the building, I mean,
That's
I want to go to somebody that I know, you know, that make sure that, not that anybody wouldn't, but to
yes.
make sure though that what you just said is happening. So,
Yes, and they know their folks in their building.
Right, that's what I'm
and
saying, right.
He would do a good job, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Well, with that being said, then I would like to offer a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of the $1,500 stipend for the school level media coordinators.
Second.
We have a motion to accept and a second to approval of the $1,500 yearly stipend for a school level media coordinator at each of the schools. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right, we're going to get an update on where we are with Wausau paper tax refund.
So the, one of the attachments you had, if you'll remember, is this one pager, the one that's bright blue. We put this out, back in March, and it basically explained what tangible property tax was, and here, I'm gonna hand you the hard copies of it. Just to review, in case someone's watching the video, companies self-report their tangible property, and so we actually do not, we don't have any say in it, there's no way we can question it, but it's self-reported, and then we, the bill's generated and we collect the taxes. And so a company has 2 years in order to request an audit and a refund or to file that they incorrectly filed that amount when they self-reported. And so that's happened with Wausau Paper. I think most everybody's aware of that because that's been an ongoing conversation for several years in the district. We are making payments. Wausau Paper was gracious to let us spread the remainder of the refund that was owed out over 6 payments. And so you can see the payment schedule up there. We've paid 4 of the 6 payments. We have 2 payments left. That's $111,570. We are going into a time where we are dealing with Corning, and we're going to have to make rather large refund payments with Corning. We don't know exactly what those are yet. 1 year has been approved by the Department of Revenue that we have to pay that refund. The other 2 years are still up in the air at this point. So it would be my recommendation, since we've talked with the auditors recently and we are in very good financial standing currently, for us to go ahead and make those last 2 payments to Wausau, since they were so gracious and they have worked with us over several years, that we go ahead and make those last 2 payments to them and get that out of the way as we are going into negotiations with Corning.
And further on that, to let you all know, Corning settlement, if it's all 3, is $750,000. That comes directly out of the general fund. Wausau was, as you can see, was well over $300,000. That comes directly out of general fund. That's over $1 million in the last 3 years of money being directed back to these companies. To explain to the public, we don't set that tax rate. We have nothing to do with this. We all of a sudden get a report from the revenue cabinet that says, you all now have to pay this back. And it just doesn't affect Danville schools. We're the largest entity that gets hit with this, but it also affects the library, it affects different districts that also get money from these tangible taxes. So I agree with Dr. McDonald with our financial situation. Let's go on and get those last 2 payments made, and then we're just going to see where things end up with Corning at this point, because we just have to be able to negotiate. $1 million is, I mean, it's just a bunch of money. So anyways, can we have a motion, please, on making the payments?
Yes, but before we make the motion, I had it in my head. I'm really trying to gather the correct words that I want to say, or that I should say, when it comes to this, because it is, I mean, it's frustrating to me as a board member, and I know a little bit about it, and I can understand if I'm a stakeholder and I hear this, and I don't really know how it works, or I don't understand it at all. But when you say I'm losing $1 million, and these companies, they set their, I mean, they go through their process and they make the report, and then they tell us what they're basically going to give us. And then when they make the mistake, and I understand everybody makes mistakes, but years later you realize that, you know, this is a mistake. I mean, there has to be a better process, I think, and I would hope that at some point, I don't know that what we can and cannot do, but there has to be a process that we can either work with our local representatives in the Senate. I mean, there has to be a process that, because when you look at small districts like ours, this could be devastating if we were not in such in good financial shape. I mean, it would devastate a district, and I just want the stakeholders to know that we are in communication with some of those people, and we're definitely trying to hit it off at the crossroads, you know, when we can see if we can see these things coming. There has to be a cutoff at some point, because at this point, I mean, we had Wausau, now we have Corning, who's next? You know, and if they keep coming without some processes in place from the higher ups that's going to continue to allow this to happen. I mean, it's just crucial. But I just wanted to make a statement so that the stakeholders know that we are trying to make sure that we can get some things in place. It's above us. There may or may not be anything that we can do, but it won't be from a lack of not trying.
And so currently, a company can request a refund on up to 2 years, but because the filing and the process takes so long, by the time they file that claim and it's processed, they paid 3 years. So that's why when you look at the information on Wausau reporting, you're seeing 3 years that we're dealing with, even though they can claim 2 years back. I know that Mr. Becker has, and I have had conversations with our state legislators, you know, about this, because like you said, it is out of our hands, and we'll continue to have those conversations. You know, even at a minimum, if they would only allow 1 year instead of 2 years, that'd be somewhat helpful. So we'll continue to have those conversations, but it is very difficult on us and other taxing entities as well. We may be the largest, but even the library and the other entities, you know, their budgets are not as large, so it's still going to impact them, you know, a large amount too.
Yeah, there just has to be a timeline for you to have a cutoff for when you can realize that, hey, I'm going to be requesting a refund.
Last year, Steve, you spoke that you said that we were affected by not having a statute of limitations on this reporting thing, and that you was going to be talking to some state legislators about that.
And there have been conversations made. I think now, for some reason, there's more interest in it this year. I think for the fact that now that not just Danville, but there's been other districts that have been hit with this. And I think more and more boards are starting to get a hold of their legislators and just say, look, something's got to happen. You know, everybody looks at our budget of $28 million and they think, well, what's $1 million? Well, $1 million is how many teachers? I mean, it's how many folks that work for us. It's paying for benefits. There's so many things that $1 million can be doing, that all we're doing is refunding money, and I think we got to have a better way. But I do think now that there truly is some interest from the Revenue Cabinet. And I think what we need to do is, as a board, and I've been thinking about how to do this, and we can get some help with KSBA and hopefully through Vance. I think as a board, we need to have a resolution, a formal resolution stating our concerns about how this works.
Instead of statute of limitations.
Yes, and that it does affect our district greatly and others, and that we really need some help.
Yeah, because right now it's open-ended. They could wait 15 years and say, oh, we misquoted something. Our property went up. Like Wausau, they said, well, we was going on their inventory, but the inventory was fluid. It wasn't one place, one way all the time. So that's what hit us on Wausau. So Corning all of a sudden is really not operating at all in Danville anymore. But yet and still, here it is, they have been out of business like for 5 or 6 years, or maybe longer. But now all of a sudden they misreported. So we got some questions to answer on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this may be something our stakeholders can help with this. Any phone calls we can get
to
our local
get them
reps,
involved.
you know, it doesn't hurt. So
get them involved.
With that being said, I would still like to offer a motion that we accept the recommendation and go ahead and finish the payments out to Wausau in the amount of $111,570 to go ahead and finish them up so that we can go into negotiations with Corning.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor concerning the last 2 payments to Wausau. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you all very much. All right, let's move down to our financials. Dr. McDonald.
Okay, Okay, so you have the monthly bank statement in front of you. So I'm going to talk about the first page. And so as you know, and some of you as your first bank statement going through it, but we have 3 parts that you always see on the front page. And each of these 3 parts have to balance exactly. And so up at the top on part 1, you have the Munis trial balance. That's the total of our revenues and our expenditures. And you find our revenues expenditures on the next 2 pages broke down. The second part is our Munis balance sheet, and that's where we just have absolutely everything from our budget, what we've spent, what we've taken in that month in Munis. And then the third part is our bank reconciliation, or our bank statement. And so if you'll notice, and of course you're seeing 2 columns over on the right, you're seeing 2020 and 2021. And so at the bottom of part 1, if you'll notice, and I'm going to kind of talk through it, you got the beginning balance, and then you have the total receipts. So when you go across on total receipts, you see total receipts, which is also our revenue, both words meaning the same thing. You have $1,598,300,000.91. If you skip down 2 rows, you see our total disbursements or our expenditures, and there we have $1,556,408.35. So our balance at the close of the month, when we get our total revenue and expenditures, is $7,844,240.48. And so instead of me saying that total again, you'll notice that that's the exact same amount where you have total fund cash balance from Munis, same amount, and then when you go down to the bank reconciliation, you go across, it's the same number as well. So we balanced all 3. Just as a reminder, page 2 is those expenditures, those disbursements broke down, and you can see at the bottom of that page it lines back up with that part 1 up there. And then the third page is our revenues, which are also called our receipts. I can always think through it better when I call it revenue, but it's technically our receipts. Total matches what you see back in part 1 as well. The last page is always the first page of our bank statement, so you can actually see what the actual bank statement is, and it's there. And we did balance this month, as always. So, any questions?
Mr. Becker, I reviewed everything. Everything's okay.
And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, but Glenn is been appointed by the board to represent the board to basically the finance department. And he gets all this ahead of time and looks through the receipts, and if he has questions, he asks them. And I think it's a valuable thing that we do have a board member that is involved that way. And so, Mr. Ball, I do appreciate your willingness to do that. If you all go through here and you see some large numbers like state seat, $576,000, state nickel, $280,000. If you're not sure what those are, if you want to know, Dr. McDonald's happy to let you know, and I'm also happy to let you know. I know a little bit about it, so probably enough to be dangerous. So, but anyways, any other questions or comments concerning the finance report? Okay, we need a motion, please.
I'd like to offer a motion that we approve the finance report as submitted.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the financial report as submitted. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. So let's go down to 9B, which is the payment of invoices. Dr. McDonald?
Okay, so Teresa always picked out like 3 or 4 big ticket items to kind of point out. Well, I started going through the invoices to do the same thing, and I think I ended up with too many Post-it notes, so so I apologize if I take longer than Teresa. So on page 1, you'll see a line integrities for $4,055. That is, you know, our badging system where we badge into the doors. That was adding that to doors at Tolliver. And I believe that's paid for with grant funds. Is that correct, Mr. Gover?
Yes. I think one of the doors was here on
One
this
here.
side door.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
correct. One here and the rest were at Tolliver. And, And so anyway, so it was paid for with grant funds. So that was nice to get that. That was needed at Tolliver. A lot of teachers are still using their keys, so we got that badged in. Amazon's the next thing, and it's kind of fairly lengthy, but just to let you know that there's a lot of supplies. As I'm sure you with your home, we get a lot of things a lot cheaper there than other places. But if you'll notice out to the very last column, it gives you a little bit of a hint on some of the things. So if you flip onto page 2 where it's still going through Amazon, you see Frisky Supplies. So that's for our family resource team. There's some stuff there for bank libraries, some special ed supplies. You see some copy paper, and then some media arts. Towards the bottom, it's the high school. So that's kind of a plethora of items across the whole district there. So I thought that was interesting. I know that Teresa points out utilities a lot. So our gas bill is on page 3. Enjoy that. That will go up considerably over the next few months. It's currently $915.81 for the whole district. And I know we usually point out large ticket items, but I think it's interesting to see that low. So that will definitely increase. I do want to point out something on page 4, because this item you're also going to see something very similar in the consent agenda. So at the very top it says Bull County Board of Education. So lots of times in districts we contract with each other sometimes for services, and so we for the last year have contracted with Bull County for a visually impaired teacher to provide services to our district. The payment that you see there, $1,956.40, was 2 times a year. So in the consent, you're going to see a contract from Mercer County. So going into the 21-22 year, we're going to contract those services with Mercer County. Sometimes we'll have a very, very small number of students, and it's much less expensive for us to contract that service than to hire a full-time employee, and this is one of those cases. So anyway, I thought you might find that interesting, so I wanted to point that out. On page 6, about midway down, you see Frontline Technologies. That's our sub-calling system where we call subs and track absences for our employees and days off, and that's page 6. On page 7 is Hilliard's Incorporated, and that is towards the bottom of page 7. The actual total for July was $5,921.38. That's our cleaning supplies. So that's paper towels or soap, those sorts of things. And then that actually rolls onto page 8. That straddles page 7 and page 8. Let's see, I think maybe I had one more. Oh, and so interesting, we could end this conversation on page 16. There was the prior Wausau paper payment of $55,785.41. That was payment number 4 that we paid in July. And of course, you just approved to make those last 2 payments for Wausau paper. If you look through the invoices at any point this week, if you have additional questions, feel free to call me at any time. When these payment of invoices is uploaded, feel free to always call me over the weekend before board meetings if you have questions about any of the items that are listed.
At the bottom of page 2 and the top of page 3. So is it the school who has an American Express card, or is that the district's American Express?
The district has one, but that might have been something that a school used.
So the school can use?
Could, if it was, yes. It could be the school, it could be anybody.
So they can check it out?
It could, yes.
Okay. Because I just saw the it was all across the board.
Yes, absolutely.
The kind of thing,
Yep.
okay.
It can be our schools. Yeah, you see that there's some site-based.
Right, so they just reimburse the district, I guess, from school funds?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because I know you need a card sometimes to do things, but.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
But the site-based that you see on the very, I think it's the second one there, or the first one there, even though that rolled into July,
right.
I believe that was when site-based was selecting the principal. So
okay.
I think that was a late payment on that from that. So I think that technically was ours at the district anyway.
Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so we need a motion, please, to accept the payment of invoices.
I'll offer a motion that we accept the finance report for payment of invoices as submitted.
Need a second, please?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of the finance report, payment of invoices as submitted. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 10. We do not have a vice chair. And I have to be really honest with you all and our public. I've had some health issues, and I need to make sure, just for me, to be selfish about this, is that we have someone that can run our meetings. I'm not in any kind of trouble. I'm not in, I'm just saying that Steve could get stuck in Louisville because of a family issue and not be able to get here for a meeting, and we need a vice chair to conduct our meetings. So I am asking the board if they're inclined to do this tonight. And I know, should we wait until the other board members appoint it? I don't think we should wait that long. I just don't think it would be fair to the board and also fair to our district. Because there would be no way to run this meeting without two officers. So right now, I would like to take a motion or a nomination. Anybody have a suggestion?
I would like to offer a motion that Mr. Glenn Ball be vice chair.
I will second that.
Okay.
If
As
he'll
long as
accept-
he's okay.
Yes, he has the longest longevity of us two on the board, so he's been here the longest. I know that really, seniority fits places, and sometimes it doesn't, and so I get it. We do need somebody that can run the meeting.
Yeah.
In case the chair is not.
Well, it's a big relief to me, and I just think that it's just how we need to conduct our business, and we don't want to do anything to impede our business. So if you will make that a formal motion,
I'll make that a formal motion.
okay? And we have a second
And I
again.
second that.
So the motion is that Mr. Glenn Ball would be vice chair of the Danville Independent Schools. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Ball, and thank all of you
My
all.
pleasure.
Okay, let's go to item 11, which is the consent agenda.
Mr. Becker, could I make one comment about that?
Yes,
before you vote?
please do.
Just for the board, wanted to make one, I had asked for item 11H to be added, which was the ratification of Dr. McDonald's evaluation. The board presented that on July 19th, I think, when there was a quorum of the board of 3. And as you'll recall, the vote was 2-1, which typically in a quorum, the majority of the quorum controls the vote. It later became apparent there's authority in the school law context that if you have a quorum of 3, it needs to be unanimous. So I've asked that this be added for ratification tonight.
Okay.
That's why 11H is on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have any questions or on
No,
that?
we're following the law.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion to accept the consent agenda as submitted.
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as submitted with the addition of item H.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second that.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, other business. Dr. McDonald approached me about adding an item concerning, it will be a budget item, But it does concern our athletic programs. Last year, as we all know, the teams took big hits on revenue because of lack of games and gates. And so anyways, I'm going to ask Dr. McDonald to kind of go through this with you all. I will ask that we can get a motion tonight if possible, so we can get this into the budget. So go ahead.
So working with our athletic director, Lisa Fisher, literally for the last 18 months during COVID, there have been so many places to where we've lost revenue. And of course that's obvious with everybody. We lost gate, we had games that were canceled that we didn't get to play. Also some things that we may not have thought about is even concessions, like loss of the concession, which is a huge fundraiser as well. So in all areas of our school district, we have areas that have been a huge challenge. And we have been able with COVID relief funds to supplement in those areas, instructionally, staffing, cleaning supplies, our food service, technology, all of those areas, the COVID relief funds we can utilize to help those areas bounce back. Athletics is not an area that we can pull in those COVID relief funds. So we have, at some level, we have offset some general funds with the COVID funds, so we are in a decent place with our general funds. So I would like to ask the board to allocate some additional funds for athletics, and for our band. And the reason I'm saying band is because, as you know, band, their fundraiser is the football concessions. And so, so I'm throwing band in there as well. So I have worked with Mrs. Fisher for the last week or so, really trying to estimate what we think we lost during COVID for those programs. And so we've kind of estimated that we believe we probably lost around $12,000 in athletics across the board at the high school. We also think that probably the band lost somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 of revenue through their concessions. So, you know, that totals around $16,000. However, I would like to ask the board to allow me to allocate from general funds and place into our working budget next month in September. I would like to do $16,000 for athletics and $4,000 for band. That I think will completely help them recoup their loss due to COVID safely. Like I think that's a safe amount because I'm sure there are probably a few things that we've not thought about. Another example is when we were able to have gates last year, we actually backed our price up from $6 to $5 so that we had less cash exchange in hands. People could just literally drop a 5 or a 10. And we didn't have to have hands-on cash as much. So we even lost that extra dollar when we were able to have gates. So I'm asking the board to allow me to spend $20,000, $16,000 for athletics and $4,000 for band to help them recoup.
I'm thinking it should be more, yet as a contingency, really, and all you asking for 20, I'm saying 23. To be quite honest with you, I think you should have a fudge factor in there.
I'm sure they would love to have that little cushion.
Well, and I would agree. I was thinking in my mind I was thinking that because, I mean, a lot. We did lose a lot, but you know, and we don't. And had we charged, I mean, a lot of our families would have struggled anyway. You know, to be able to do that. And to be fair, I mean, we're really not out of it. I mean, we're still dealing with, you know, with some issues right now because we're not back, really. I mean, because if you think about it, we're still in the pandemic.
That's exactly right.
And what's going to happen is we're going to be back in the same situation this coming school year because we're going to not be able to do some of the things that, I mean, we're already in the situation. We've got football, we've got, you just announced volleyball started tonight. I know soccer's already started their season. And so, I don't even know that we're having concessions right now, you know, at some of those events. And so I would definitely agree with Mr. Ball that I would like to see us look ahead of the road just a little bit and not play catch up so much, and give us a little bit of a buffer to be able to assist them, because it's only, I see it as only, it ain't not fair and unfair, it's just the right thing to do, because just like you said, we've been able to do a lot of things on the academic side of things because we've got millions of dollars that was given to us. I mean, $6 or $7 or $8 million. I mean, but they $9 million. They told us what we had to do with it.
Yes.
And athletics was not a part of any of those relief funds. And so I do agree. I think that $20,000 is a little on the backside of it. I'm not going against you. I mean, if you think $20,000 is enough, but I would like us to at least look at it and think a little. I just don't think $20,000 is enough to cover us for what's still to come as well.
I think that,
but if you think 20 is good, then
no, I do think that 15 is probably what they estimated losing for gate money, and concessions around 3. However, I'm sure there are some things that they've just not realized at this point. That's one. Secondly, in replacing some equipment, we're finding that it is costing more, just like everything else, because of the supply and demand. We're currently trying to get some additional football helmets, and they're almost impossible to find or get, and so the cost is higher. So we're running into some higher cost on equipment than normal, just because of the supply and demand, like everything else that we have currently. Also, I didn't mention the middle school. So the middle school is something. So I do think that I know that we don't want to play catch up, but we could start with an amount, and then Ms. Fisher and I would come back if we saw that wasn't going to be enough, because I have made a commitment to her and the principals that, we will make sure they get what they need this year. So, that there was already, this is my budget, I'm not going to be able to live within this because of all of this. And so I made that commitment and told them I was sure the board was committed as well. That we'd get them what they needed, so.
Yeah, because I would really like to support them so that they don't have to really start all of these fundraisers again and starting to, having to hit these people with this and that and going here and there in the middle of still a pandemic. And we're asking them, we see all of these fundraisers, and it triggered my mind. Is like, why are we having to make our kids go out and do this when we are sound and we can support them? We can get through this pandemic. We can help them get through this.
Agree.
And so I'd like to see us do that and not, and to let them know that we, as a board, we do support the athletic programs, and we don't want them to have to rely on all of those fundraisers while we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So if we can let them ease their minds a little bit on trying to come up with all of these different fundraisers, to let them know that the board's behind them.
Does the board have a number in mind, or would you like?
I have a number in mind.
Well, give me your number.
And you can I would like to see the board issue the athletic program $50,000, and I'd like to see them offer the band $5,000, and that I think can help get us through the rest of this year and not have to make them do as many fundraisers. And I think that you and the athletic director could probably work to help divvy that out, to work with teams to eliminate some of the fundraisers. I mean, I saw all these fundraisers. If you could work with the team that say, okay, how much would this fundraiser really have brought in for you? Oh, well, we're going to do all of this for $2,500. Give them $2,500 and not make them have to go out and do so much within the community to fundraise, because I just think it looks bad, and I don't think that. Well, that's my whole point. I just don't want us to say that that's what we're depending on. That we have to have these fundraisers.
You saying $55,000?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so my thing is do we have a breakdown of how this money is going to be allocated? Because my concern is with the band. So we're saying that there's a huge gap. So originally it's going to be $16,000 when across the board it's $12,000, and then band is 3 to 4, and we're going to give them 4. For fairness, there is $4,000 extra. So what are we going to give to the band? That's a little extra. I'm talking fairness. So what's the breakdown of how we're gonna allocate this money?
I do think too, and this may be something that we look at or table or come back to the conversation again at the next board meeting, because we have various groups that may not be getting relief funds.
Absolutely.
So maybe if we, and of course you don't even have to necessarily vote on the athletics tonight, because there is the money currently, so if they know it's coming, it's not like they
So
don't
we're
have
not-
something, but it's not like they don't have.
So if we don't
any-
do something tonight, then
they-
they're gonna be okay.
That's right, because the board allocates $60,000 to
Okay.
athletics anyway.
Right.
That's there. They have the money if they have needs in the next 30
Okay.
days.
Okay.
So let me work with Lisa.
If that's
Fisher.
okay,
Yeah.
I would think that
And, but
we
also
need to do that.
need to talk to the middle school and high school principal, because there could be some other groups that are getting slighted through this because
Absolutely.
it was a very quick decision.
Mhm.
So I will work up a proposal within kind of that amount and see, and bring it back, and with the knowledge and approval of the principals as well.
I think that's the best idea.
What she's saying, kind of like a line item assessment. That we know
Absolutely.
how we're doing, and then the citizens in the community know that we're allocating funds with accountability
Absolutely.
with validity.
I will bring that back to the work session in
Okay.
September.
Okay, thank you, if that's okay.
No, it works for me.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
And while we're in the other, can I ask another question?
Mm-hmm.
I lost track, where are we with, some few months ago, we received our Title IX report, and we were looking at the softball facility. And we didn't finish up, our softball facility didn't quite get finished.
That's correct.
Because the restroom facility and the locker room for those girls is not finished. And we had put it on the board agenda that we would look into that, and I don't think we ever heard anything back.
Well,
from
no,
that.
and we've not come back at that point. We actually have quite a few facility needs, and so Ernest Dunn and I are working through those, and so we actually are going to come back to the board. We'll try to get that back in September with a larger list of facility needs so that the board can prioritize, especially since we have a little bit extra in our general fund this year that we can play with,
Right.
and so that we can prioritize those, and the softball, of course, being at the top. So,
Good.
but Mr. Dunn has been finishing several other projects.
Okay, I just didn't want us to
Yeah.
forget.
We hadn't forgotten about it. It's actually at the top of the list and starred.
Okay.
But we do have several facilities projects that we need to discuss soon.
Okay, any other items under other? Seeing there are none. So our last item on the agenda is to adjourn.
I make a
Do we have
motion
any
to adjourn.
recommendations? Mr. Ball?
I second that.
So we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
All right?
All those
And bye.
opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.